Welcome to Rise and Grind Radio 3.0.
You are now about to witness
With your host, Scotty the Body.
Come down later for good
7 of truth bombs, hard facts, and real life grit. It's time to wake up. Let's grind.
Here we go again.
No, you gonna dig this.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Rise and Grind Radio 3.0. I'm your host, Scotty the Body, and today we're getting into something special, something that I've been conjuring up myself because, well, all this nonsense about, who I am, the existential question of what the hell am I doing here and why? I know we all go through it at least once, maybe twice in our lives, or some of us every single morning. But I think today is a special day because we'll touch on it together. So once again, welcome back to Rise and Grind Radio 3.0. We live in a time where everyone's chasing a label, chasing a slice of their identity like it's a golden ticket to actually understanding themselves. A lot of these folks, they'll be like, I'm 18% this and 12% that, part Viking, part Cherokee, sprinkle of sub-Saharan, a dab of Irish Catholic. All these DNA tests, Ancestry.com, 23andMe, got people throwing percentages around like it's math test on who am I, But here's the thing that nobody says. You can be 10% of everything and still be 100% lost. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not bashing people who want to explore their lineage. It's beautiful, right? It's educational. It's powerful. It helps you understand who you are and where you've come from. But if you let that be the end of your journey instead of the beginning, well, then you probably miss the whole point. Because your ancestry might explain where you came from, but it'll never explain who you are now. Right? The real question is, what are you going to do with that information? You found out you're 20% Nigerian and 35% Scandinavian? Now what? Does that unlock your passion, your purpose, your pain? Or does it just give you a category to defend? Oh, I'm such and such, so I'm offended. Where's the lie? You see, in a world where everyone is trying to feel special, people forget that being human is already special. You don't need exotic DNA to actually matter, no pun intended. You're already one of the one, or already one of one, built from the light and pressure and pain and perseverance. But here's what messes me up. People find out these labels, and instead of becoming more connected to others, they become more divided, right? More separated because they're looking for a reason. They start drawing lines in the sand. Oh, I'm not like them. I'm this. Oh, we don't marry outside our religion. I don't hang out with those people who don't believe in what I believe. Oh, my ancestors wouldn't approve. Yo, your ancestors had trauma you can't even pronounce, and you want to honor them? Oh, man, evolved beyond what they had to survive. We use culture as a shield, sometimes even as a sword, but we never use it as a bridge. And that's the part that blows my mind. You got so much heritage behind you, yet you use it to exclude instead of include. You proclaim how sacred your background is, but forget that the entire human race is your bloodline. Every soul out there is made of the same raw stuff. Joy, pain, hunger, confusion, love, loss, anger. We're all the same. We all bleed the same. We all mourn the same. And we all die the same. But while we're alive, We got to stop acting like label gives us a pass to act ignorant, to act hateful, to stay stuck. You know, you're not better than someone else because of a test result. You're not more pure, more worthy, or more important. Because if you ever learned how to love across, if you never learned how to love across the aisle, it's because you've never humbled yourself to sit with someone who believes differently than you. And that's a choice, right? It's your own ignorance standing in your own way. If you think it's okay to keep everything segregated permanently, well, there's a problem, right? There's a story about it. Romeo and Juliet. Neither of their families wanted them to get together. But it's a timeless tale. I'll let you figure it out for yourself. You're playing a shallow game of identity while the deeper truth is staring you right in the mirror every morning saying, why haven't you figured yourself out yet? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, if you have standards, and you're like, oh, well, we like to keep all of our kin Muslim, Middle Eastern, right? So we don't marry outside of Middle Eastern people. Or we got an Italian family, right? We don't marry outside of Italians because we like to keep the Italian lineage going, right? Everyone doesn't open books and still banging rocks together. Bop, boop, boop, bam, bop. You don't need a lab to tell you that, you carry trauma. At some point, we all have a little bit of trauma. It all affects us differently. You don't need a pie chart to tell you that you're disconnected from your truth. You know it. You feel it. A lot of people are in denial. You see it in your choices, in your habits, in your relationships. Speaking of your habits, a lot of these habits, if you don't cure your trauma, they turn into addictions because you fill the void with whatever makes you feel good. That dopamine hit, whether it's cigarettes, booze, porn, whatever, all the toxic shit. The fact that people say I need stimulation is a weak mind. You don't need anything. You've been given everything that you've ever needed by the Lord above, the universe, the creator. Now, all this other shit is for everyone else to be a merchant making money. So you figure it out for yourself on this path of self-discovery. But I'll tell you what, outside of salt and water, you really don't need much. Let's talk about belief for a second. Because people like to cling to their heritage. In most cases, they like to cling to religion. And, that can be beautiful to an extent, until it isn't. These extremists in any category and every category fucking ruin it and queer it for everyone, right? Because it's got to be my way or it doesn't work. It's got to be this way or it doesn't work. I'll tell you what, I gave a life lesson to some of my family this past weekend, and let's see, we all come from the same thing. I've done enough research to say that we all come from the 12 tribes of Israel at one point or another. There should be no fucking hate. And religion's just bullshit, right? We all, if you do enough research before, like, Zoroaster, or is it Zohar, the Zoroastrianism, or whatever the fuck it's pronounced, before any of that shit, before, Talmud, before any real ancient texts came to be, we all believed in fucking Yahwism. Yahwism. Yeah, look that up too. Once you start reading more and start becoming more ignorant and start becoming less ignorant and become more intelligent, well, you don't fall for all this stupid shit that you've been exposed to your entire life. Like fucking religion. Yahwism. Go back to that. We literally, the entire fucking planet, believed in the same fucking thing. It was based on the sun god. Yeah, because the sun gives us energy. And then we'll go from there. I don't want to tamper or dampen anyone's religious beliefs or whatever, but if you haven't done the reading, you should. I'm not here to curb you one way or another. I'm just here to wake you the fuck up. You can call me Morpheus. Yeah. I'm here to wake you up, and you can call me Morpheus from now on. Because it doesn't seem like, I don't know. I don't get through to enough people when it comes to this kind of shit. Everyone's like, "Oh, my religion matters. My religion's the best. My religion, or my this, my that." Dude, you know there's 8.4 billion people on the planet right now, and none of your shit matters? Because as a collective, we all fucking matter. Anyway, look, I've read most of the holy books. And I've never seen where one God said, turn this into a dictatorship in my name. Not once. Never. If your God demands blind obedience and never growth, if your God threatens damnation instead of offers transformation, maybe you've been mistaken, or you've mistaken control for faith. You know, again, read. And do enough reading, you know. And when you think there's enough, there's more, right? But go by historical facts, not what the ADL or APEC wants to tell you. Historical facts, right? Like up until the 1400s AD, Christianity believed in spiritualism, as in heaven is here. You know, we're earth in here, and hell is at our sacral level. More of the chakra, right? But it wasn't until the 1400s, 1500s, 1600s where they got a hold of the Bible, completely bastardized it, and told you that there's a place to go to after you die, whether it's hell or heaven or purgatory, right? Oh, you're going somewhere after this and you don't got to worry about dying? Oh, wow. No, we're all fucking dying, dude. It's just a matter of, you know, what kind of bullshit fairy tale they want to put in your head, you know? But like I said, do the reading. So I'm not the ignorant one here. If I got the balls to speak on it, it means I've seen it. You know, I'm not going to just talk ill and be like, oh, well, you know, I read it in a fucking magazine one time. No, dude, this is actually text in literature that's been published many years before my existence. Anyway, back to my off tangent. You know, you've mistaken control for faith, because real faith, real God is in you know, even Jesus Christ, Yeshua. And I hate to get religious about this, but there's been some really good things said. Even he said that God is within you, right? Heaven here, hell here, God is within you. You control the universe. The manifestation is real. You know, that's about elevation. That's about love. It's about evolution of your soul, not your status. And you better believe this episode isn't just about DNA or religion. It's about remembering your humanity. You know, we all make mistakes. Oh, I've even made some so loud that they've echoed for years. But I've owned them. I sat with them. I learned from them. But you know what isn't human? Doing the same shit. Making the same mistake over and over. And calling it who I am, and then blaming it on your astrological sign. No, that's not a personality trait, folks. That's purely a choice. And you're literally choosing not to grow. I get it. Growth is hard. Sometimes you gotta let people go. Sometimes family. Sometimes friends. Old friends. Even parts of yourself. That's why this journey isn't for everyone. Some folks get scared to evolve because they think it means letting go of who they are. Sometimes it's more or less of letting go of who the fuck they thought they were because they weren't even that person. Let me tell you something real. If who you were is blocking who you are becoming, then you've already outgrown it. I've said it before. The only time that real change happens is when you get sick of your own shit. This is the truth. This body, this avatar, this life, it's all temporary. You're a visitor in this vessel. And when this life ends, and it will, you either wake up and say, damn, I was really living. Or, damn, I wasted that whole trip chasing the wrong shit. So, stop chasing perfection. Stop chasing identity based on percentages, affiliations, labels, fuck, even followers. Start chasing character. Start chasing impact. Start chasing some clarity. Because when it's all said and done, the only label that matters is the one that the universe puts on your soul when it's time to leave this body. And, you know, hopefully that label says that one learned. Thank you so much for joining us this week on Rise and Grind Radio, folks. It's been my pleasure. I hope this hit you in the right places, and if it didn't, maybe re-listen to it again. You know, we all go through it, but we all get through it. Make sure your ignorance is behind you and your progression is ahead of you. We're here if you need us here at Rise and Grind Radio 3.0. I'm your host, Scotty the Body. Wishing you the best week of your lives.